Hey, Bruce Naylor here, and I am the Boomer Consumer with an emphasis on hi-fi, DACs, headphones, amplifiers, music. Yeah, that's what this channel is really all about. You don't have to spend a fortune on hi-fi to get great quality sound. And today, oh, this is heavy. We're talking about the ABRAMTEK X50 powered bookshelf speakers. Got some weight to it. Let's talk about this for just a minute. First off, as a disclaimer, I was sent these at no cost for review. However, all opinions are my own. No one's reviewed this video prior to posting, and I don't sell this stuff that I review. If I'm allowed to keep it and I can use it, I keep it, but if not, it's donated to charity. That's what I do. I don't profit from reviewing products. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I made notes. Teleprompters are just not my thing, okay? These are powered bookshelf speakers. I like powered speakers, and I'll tell you why. I like them because you don't have to buy a lot of different components to listen to your music. You get something like these ABRAMTEK X50s, connect the source, and away you go. They'll even work with Bluetooth. And these have just about every input you could want. Bluetooth, auxiliary input, HDMI. Very few powered speakers offer HDMI inputs, right? You have an auxiliary in, you have the ability to connect a subwoofer, you have a built-in phono stage. You can connect a CD player, you can connect a turntable, you can Bluetooth into it. It even has optical in. So I even connected an Apple Airport Express and did AirPlay 2 directly through the optical in on this speaker. These are pretty hefty. And you can see, I think it's a great looking speaker. Now, for more information, I've got a link down below, but these are on sale right now for $400. Normal retail price is $500. At $500, opens up more options out there. I'm not saying that these are the end all, the be all, the end all, but they're certainly at $400, I think very much worth it. I have been listening to these very, very heavily for the last couple of weeks. All kinds of music. I'm probably don't listen to what a lot of people consider audiophile music. I listen to classical, I listen to jazz, I listen to classic rock. My interests are all over the place. Here lately, it's been R&B instrumental. Love it. Sounds good. Some techno, some electronic, but mostly I'm still pretty much a classic rock kind of guy. One thing I wanted also to address in this video is I typically don't include a sound demo of speakers and so forth because you're going to be listening to it through whatever microphone that I'm using. And then it's going to go through compression and YouTube and all that. And then you're going to be listening to whatever speakers or headphones or earbuds on your device. So you're nowhere near going to get a good idea of what these really sound like. But to make some of you happy, here's a demo. There's your demo. Now, let's take a closer look at the ABRAMTEK X50 powered speakers. Let's just talk about the general construction of this speaker. MDF, and it's got a kind of a matte finish on the side and the top, but then you have this gloss piano black finish on the front baffle. It's just really a beautiful looking speaker. You have this aluminum ring around the bass driver. And sort of interesting is this honeycomb pattern over the tweeter grill. I'm not sure the purpose of using that pattern, but maybe it just makes the tweeter a little bit less bright, because this is a titanium tweeter on there. And then you also have, on the front here, you have this indicator light on here, and that works with conjunction with the remote control. So as you move sources, the color of it changes. So there's phono, USB, auxiliary, your bass control, optical, set the TV, Bluetooth. So the color of that light will change depending on your input source. Let's go over the specs of the X50s. First, you get a 1-inch titanium tweeter. Then there's a 5 1/4-inch bass driver, aluminum bass, that's according to the ABRAMTEK website. You then get 2 Class D power amplifiers rated at 180 watts total. There's a built-in DAC, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz. It measures 10.24 inches tall, 6.7 inches wide, and then 7.87 inches deep, roughly 8 inches in depth. So it's a relatively small bookshelf speaker. Comes with a bass boosted hourglass tube. Now that's from the manufacturer's website. I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to. It is ported on the rear, but it's supposed to help with the lower bass frequency response. Comes with a 9-foot long cable, proprietary speaker cable to connect to the other speaker. And it looks to be some type of DIN connector on there. 9 foot, I think, is going to be adequate for most people. Frequency response is measured 45 hertz to 25 kilohertz, and max sound pressure level 103 dB. Each speaker weighs about 9 pounds. Now the X50s come with a pretty nice little remote. It does not come with 2 AAA batteries, so you need to make sure you have those. On the top you have your on and off button, mute, then your source selector. There is a source selector on the back, but this is far easier to use. You can switch between optical, TV, which is the HDMI, phono, USB, auxiliary, and then you can adjust the bass as well on here. This will, fast forward, go back, pause, stop your, for example, if you're using Bluetooth, and then these could work as your volume up and down buttons. Just a nice little remote. It is plastic, but definitely don't lose this thing. I think it's just super convenient to have. Now turning the back of the speaker, there's your rear firing port. And I found if you keep them somewhere around about 8 to 12 inches away from the front wall, that kind of mitigates a little bit of, I won't say the bass is booming, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but it's pronounced. And so that will help mitigate that to some degree. On the back, we have, you don't see this very often on powered speakers, ARC. So you could use this as a 2-channel home theater, actually 2.1, because there's also subwoofer outputs on here. So you have your ARC, you have your USB input, that's for a flash drive, something like that. Then you have optical input. Up here you have a 3.5 millimeter analog input. So maybe you have a CD player, some device, MP3 player, you could hook up to that. Phono stage. Hook this up to my Fluence RT85. Sounded fantastic. Then you have this pre-out. That's to hook up a subwoofer. Down here you have your on and off. This is a multi-purpose switch. Use it to control the volume. By the way, it doesn't have any stop position. It just keeps going around and around and around. You can press in order to change sources, and then a long press to put it into Bluetooth pairing mode, or you can do that from the remote control. This is where the other speaker would connect, and then you have this ground terminal on here, and finally your power connection. This has all the inputs you could really want out of a powered speaker. So what do I really think? Well, let's talk about bass. That's kind of one of the big selling points of the X50s. It is very pronounced. I'm going to try to avoid all the audiophile jargon. It's very deep. Now, it is 45 hertz to 25 kilohertz frequency response, but you do get really deep bass. As a matter of fact, make sure you pull these out from your front wall at least about a foot, and that'll kind of help negate that. There's also bass control on the back of the speaker and also on the remote, but it is very pronounced. I won't use the term boomy or muddy, but it's very, very much a bass speaker. Now, let's talk about the mid-range vocals. Very good. They sound really good. Not quite on par with my Klipsch RP600Ms, but for their size, the presentation of vocals and mid-range was very, very good. And finally, let's talk about treble. You would think, and it's been my experience with titanium-based tweeters, that they can be a bit bright. I did not find that to be the case. I don't know if it's got something to do with this honeycomb kind of pattern on the front of there, if it diffuses it somehow, but it's pretty well controlled. Not really fatiguing. And by fatiguing, to me, what that means is if I listen for a length of time and I start feeling kind of in my head, that's what I'm talking about. And you just don't get that with these. Let's also talk about the company, ABRAMTEK. Some people, I have seen comments, other people, never heard of them. Don't know anything about ABRAMTEK. Look, I did a little research. They've been around since 2005. They make wireless speakers, Bluetooth, earbuds. They've been in that business for, 17 years. Okay? This is just a new product, and I think it's going to do quite well in the marketplace. Two more things. Imaging and soundstage. Okay, I listen to these near field. What does that mean, near field? Close, more or less. Now, what I do is kind of set up where I'm in a triangle where everything's kind of equal distant, okay? You know, a meter left, a meter right, I'm away a meter. You get the idea. And soundstage is, think about being an audience, the stage is in front of you. Is it a nice wide soundstage? Is it very narrow? Is it very deep? Is it very tall? Okay, it has a good soundstage. There is nothing wrong with that. Soundstage is presented in the speaker. And finally, imaging. Well, what's imaging mean? It's the ability to pick out the location on that stage, that virtual stage, where the different players and instruments are. Again, I thought this did a very, very good job. Now, that's as least audiophile as I can get. These speakers are neither fatiguing, they are not overly bright or shrill, however you want to put it. They are bass heavy. That's kind of their thing. But you can control that by positioning the speaker or cutting back the bass on the back of the speaker or using the remote control. And my final thought on these, at $500, which is the current retail price, right? There are other options you should explore. At $400, this is, I think, a better value all in all. These will meet the needs of most people. If you're in a small environment, maybe you're in a college dorm room, you have a small bedroom, home office, these are going to be amazing. If you want to use it for two-channel home theater, you've got the HDMI input. And I did listen to some television on these. I connected via Bluetooth, but that's fine. And it sounded very, very good. So, no, not Bluetooth, HDMI. That's correct. I'm sorry. HDMI. And it sounded very, very good. No problem whatsoever. So there you have it. This is my honest opinion of the ABRAMTEK X50 speakers. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.